All right, all right. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, everybody, it's MsTonya. Miss Tanya the poet. I am here. I'm here, and it is another Tuesday. It is around lunchtime. So a lot of you are on lunch. You're taking your break. You've made it halfway through the day already. So congratulations for that. And we're going to get into a conversation. Let me let y'all know what we're talking about, just in case you missed a flyer. Let me tell you something. We got something here for you. Now, I don't know. We got to talk about this because it's out here in these streets. Here it is. Relationships. That whole dating scene, dating, relationships, dishonesty, and STDs. Some of these things just don't go together. Or at least they shouldn't be. They absolutely shouldn't be. But things like this are happening out here. All right, y'all. It's Talk It Out Tuesday. Talk It Out Tuesday with Tori and MsTonya. And this is the topic today. So before we get into it, and we got to get into it. We got to. We're going to do a little breath work. And I think we need to do some breath work for this conversation. We need to be, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. I'm telling you. What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. And I want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your head pods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Didn't that feel great? Oh, yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. You may have needed that breath work. But what I want to say is it's crucial for us to explore why some people withhold certain information, and particularly when it comes to our sexual health. So withholding STD information it's not a good thing. It's not. It's Talk It Out Tuesday on the Feelings or Fact podcast. So we're going to dive into a real talk why some folks keep STD information under wraps, even in marriages and committed relationships. Believe it or not, it happens. So let's prioritize this conversation. Let's prioritize open conversation, testing boundaries for safer and healthier connections. All right, I'm going to get Tori on in here. Bring it on into the podcast here. Tori.
I'm here. Can you hear me clearly?
I hear you very clearly. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good. This is an interesting topic. Let me just say why.
Do you have your phone near you or something? Is something buzzing?
I don't.
I hear something that sounds like a little feedback. Let me make sure it's not me then. How about that?
Okay. Let me mute my mic and make sure it's not me.
Okay, mute in a minute. It is you. Unmute. Yeah, something's going on. I don't know what that
Hold on, let
is.
me unplug my mic right quick. Hold on.
Okay,
Take me out the queue for a second.
I will. All right, y'all. Y'all know how it goes. Sometimes technical difficulties will happen and can happen in a live broadcast. I want you guys to get in here. Go ahead and let me know where you're at, where you're watching from, listening from. You might be at work, I don't know, but this is a very serious conversation, and you know, I don't know why people do this, but I definitely know that it is something that is happening out here. It truly is. And I see Kim here. She said, Tori coming in with the bass. But that's not the kind of bass that we want. That's not the type of bass that we need. But we need to be having these conversations, people. People need to be honest with each other. I don't know how many of you have experienced anything like this, but I know that it's very challenging out here in the dating world. But this is happening in marriages because there is dishonesty in committed relationships as well. I want to bring up since Tori is getting herself situated, let me bring something into the mix here. Let's see. All right, so here we go. I brought this article in here, and as you see the title, it says, My patient is having an affair and has an STI. I'm treating both partners. What would you do? And I'm curious, what would you all do? What would you do? The psychiatrist is treating a couple individually, one of whom was HIV positive. During a session, the infected partner revealed he was having sex with other men outside of the relationship and not using safe sex practices. He was being treated for major depression and anxiety at the time. Explained the psychiatrist. Okay, she said she strongly encouraged him to tell his partner, but he was scared of doing so. He stated that they had not been using safe sex practices between the two of them, but he was willing to start at that point. Now, I don't know what this sounds like to you all, but it sounds like exactly what it is, okay? We've got a relationship here. They're being dishonest with each other. They're not disclosing their sexual health, their status. And that's a problem. They're in a committed relationship, but people are doing this out here in the dating world. So when are you all, and I don't have to say you all, I think I'll pose the question this way. When is the time? When is the correct time to disclose information like this? When do you tell? When do you have that conversation? When do you have that conversation? Quite obviously, as we heard from this psychiatrist, her client stated that he was afraid to have the conversation. And here's the thing. How are you afraid to have the conversation, but not afraid to be that intimate with someone? Y'all get in here and let me know. Get in here and let me know. Is this something that you all know about, heard about? Because Tori brought the idea of the conversation to me because she saw a video on TikTok. I'm not sure if it was TikTok or YouTube, but it was, I'll let her tell you when she's able to jump back in here. But it was a lady and her partner, gave her STDs, her husband, I think it was. And I don't know too much of the details. She saw the video, so I'll let her talk to you about it. Tori, you able to get back in here and talk to me?
Let's see what it sounds like.
It sounds good.
Okay,
How you doing?
good. I'm good.
Let's say hey all over again. Let's start all over.
What's up, everybody? It's the Tuesday. Y'all already know how it goes. But what I was trying to say before these technical difficulties were, just like Tanya said, I actually was scrolling on Facebook and I came across this video. I don't know why it came in my feed, but it came in my video and it was a woman. She was on the live and her husband actually is infected with HIV, syphilis, and herpes. And she found out, and on top of that, she found out her husband was on the down low. So she had to.
Wait, Tori. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because you list a lot of things. You said a lot there. Tell me what was going on with him again?
He has her husband has HIV,
Mm-hmm.
herpes, and syphilis.
All of those.
And she found out that he was on a DL.
My God. He couldn't choose just one thing. Whew, Lord.
Yeah.
So she found all of this out at
Yeah.
one time, Tori?
Yes. And I was actually trying to because you remember I told you I wanted to send you the video, but I guess I don't know if it was her decision or Facebook decision, but they deleted they took the video down. So but yeah, and she was
Ah.
highly upset. Highly upset. But
Do you think?
I was like, oh my goodness. But towards the end of the video, before the video ended, she did get tested. And as of right now, but things could come up later. As of right now, her tests are negative. Thank God. But let's pray that it stays that way. But yeah,
Ooh.
she found out all of that at the same time. All of that. So I'm like,
Lord have mercy. Y'all, get in here and put those likes up. Get those likes up. We got to let people know. We got to let this algorithm know that, we're having conversations that people are interested in having, that you're here. I see you. I see you in here, so I thank you for your support. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Subscribe to Keep the Faith with Tori over on YouTube. Subscribe to MsTonya TV. Make sure that you do that. We're bringing you Feelings or Facts podcast. That's what we're doing. We're doing this for you. Because a lot of our conversations, we could talk about things and you can get in your feelings and it could be things that are your feelings, but we can talk about those facts too. That's what we're here to do. Today we are talking about the dishonesty in relationships. STDs. When is the proper time to have that conversation? When are we having that conversation that we need to have? When are you revealing your status? How are you doing that in the dating world? Let us know. When do you think is the best time to have these type of conversations? What are you thinking about this, Tori?
well, you asked the question about when it's something as serious as that, when you are just dating or vetting, so to speak. I don't think you should reveal that information until it becomes exclusive. That's something that you need to have a conversation about. But once you're in the getting to know someone process, I don't think you should have to tell them that up front. But once it gets serious, it is a conversation that you need to have, because I know I have uh, a friend that has an illness and they did not disclose information, and it kind of same situation what happened to, and I'm like, you're wrong for that, because isn't, if I'm not correct, can't you go to jail these days for doing stuff like that if you knowingly take
Yes.
someone? Yeah. And I'm like, and I was like, why would you do that?
Why would
Because
you do that?
you didn't give that person a choice. Because if you are open and honest with that person, at least give them the choice whether or not they still want to continue the relationship. But by you taking away their choice, that's wrong.
It is. I see we got people chiming in here already.
Ashley says, woo.
Child, I feel the same way you do.
And Reggie, he sound like Florida Evans. Son, you're gonna have to read that comment. Read that comment like it's supposed to be read.
Damn. Too much to even relate to.
Oh my goodness.
Woo.
And Sonya says, "Good afternoon, sis."
How you doing, lady? Good to have you in here with us today.
And Sonya also says, "When you decide to take it further to the next level," and I agree, Sonya. I agree.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's the right thing to do, Tori. It's the right thing to do. You need to go ahead and read the quote for the people for today. You know what I'm saying? You need to go ahead and get that on out there for them because, listen, let me put it to the side.
Integrity is telling myself the truth, and honesty is telling the truth to other people. Let me read that again. Integrity is telling myself the truth, and honesty is telling the truth to other people.
Yeah,
Please, y'all tell the truth.
please tell the truth. You're putting people's lives at risk, you know,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
putting lives at risk. And honestly, you're putting your own life at risk as well. You really are.
And you know what I learned? And Kimberly says, illegal and immoral. Leave me out of it, please. And you know something else that I learned when I would do like around, of course, in December is World AIDS Day. And I remember Sonyetta used to come to the radio station to have those talks when she was at Hope Health. And I learned when during one of those talks that, like, say both people, like, I was thinking if two people have HIV, then they can come together and it's okay. But here's the thing, this person A over here may have a certain strand of HIV, and person B may have a different strand. So when they come together, they make it worse. And they have, it rushes their, if I'm saying it correctly, it rushes them to AIDS faster because they can have different strands. Because I was thinking that both have HIV, then that they can come together, but that's not the case. There's different strands of the virus. So I was like, wow. But still, people are out here, and this is a crazy thing. People are still out here as if HIV and all these other STDs do not exist, because I came across another video that was on Instagram where a young lady was crying, and she said that she was infected with herpes. And I'm like, okay, if you make a decision to sleep with a person, you're not asking these probing questions. You're not even getting tested before you lay down with somebody unprotected. You guys are not getting tested because I even heard a male friend of mine say to me, "Oh, they look clean. They look clean. Are you serious?"
Yeah, I've heard
Looks
that.
can be deceiving. Just because they look good don't mean it's good.
Mm-mm.
You're dipping
And
into the fire.
but I mean, we're having a real conversation here.
Yeah.
We're having a real
Yeah.
conversation here, and we know the things that we should do. We
Mm-hmm.
absolutely do know the things that we should do, but are we doing those things?
No.
And we hear the answer to that. No. I
No.
don't know a whole lot of people who, and I haven't had this discussion with many people who are actually going through getting tested together.
Right. Right.
And people do lie. And then I don't have a whole lot of knowledge as it relates to when you were speaking on the different strains and strands of HIV. I
Mm-hmm.
do not know that. But I will say this, that when we're talking about some of the other STDs that are not deadly, but absolutely inconvenient to say the very least,
Mm-hmm.
people lie. And how does it show up? And how do you know? Like, how do you know a person has herpes if they're not in an outbreak? If you don't see an outbreak, if you don't see anything. So there's that. So
Right.
that's why these conversations and this communication is very important. That's why disclosure is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about these people who are in committed relationships, they are working on that honesty piece. They are thinking at the very least, my partner is protecting me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he might be out here doing whatever. You may know that or you may not know that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think you could really be caught off guard as a wife or someone who is in a committed relationship and they bring an STD to you. You really could be caught off guard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I
They
know
weren't having
that.
these conversations at all. And Sonia says each party should make a date to my office and request a female wellness panel, and the men should request a male wellness panel.
Absolutely. They should. But how many of us do this? And let me ask this question. Okay? How does our culture or our personal beliefs affect our approach to even talking about this and talking about sexual health? Like, how do we do that? Do people have the tools to do that? How do you even start that conversation? How are you guys starting that conversation? Put some ideas in here that we can share with each other, because this is something that we need to do and something that we need to need to have. We need to be able to have that conversation. So
Absolutely.
how do we break into it? Give us some ideas.
Yeah. Cynthia chime in. Chime in, Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia says, hey, ladies. What's up, Cynthia? And Aretha, what's up, cousin? She said, good afternoon, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, how you doing? And it's still it's trust.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
trust. Like, what strategies do we use to build trust and encourage open conversation in our relationships? Because I heard you say, as we initially started the conversation, that like initially that might not be something that you disclose,
Mm-hmm.
because you might feel like you don't know that person well enough, and you may not feel like you owe them your sexual health, and you may not know how to trust them with that particular information. And I heard you say that, and I had hoped that I would remember to touch back on that, because there are some things that we cannot trust everyone with. Everyone does not deserve your truth.
Right. I agree.
Everyone does not deserve it, because they're not going to hold it the way
Right.
that it should be held, and they're not going to take care of it the way that it should be taken care of. However,
Mm-hmm.
when you make a decision, or if you feel like this is going to go somewhere else, and we're going to take this to an intimate level, you absolutely do need to have that conversation. And the next question I'm going to ask: are people not using condoms anymore?
Listen,
Is that not cool? Because see, I don't know what other folks doing out here, but are folks not using condoms anymore? Is that a thing, or not a thing?
it's a thing. I hear some conversation and I'm like, I hear some conversations and I'm like, really? Do y'all do know that these diseases are still out here? And even with condoms, I will say this, even if you're using condoms and you are protecting yourself, just like I was having a conversation with my son about this last night when I was talking about the topic. And I said, even if you're using condoms, there are certain this illnesses that the condom cannot protect you from. Like you said earlier with the herpes, if they're having an outbreak, the condom's not going to protect you from that. And here's the other thing, like I was telling my son last night, I said, you are protecting your area, your midsection, your below the belt area, but people also use their mouth, and you can get illnesses through that way as well. Like herpes, you can have infections around your mouth and you can pass it on that way as well. So condoms is not always protecting from some illnesses. And not only, let me take it a step further. You know, I'm a woman of faith, and STDs, sexually transmitted, there's also sexually transmitted demons. So there's
Ooh,
spirits that are transferred as well. So you have to be very mindful
you do,
of all of that.
you
Of all
do. And I also I shared this with my kids, and I hope that people are sharing this with young people, like I said. And you said something right, like in respect to herpes. If they're not having the outbreak, you may not know. It's important to know what the outbreak is and
mm-hmm.
what you're looking for as well, because people will expose you. They really will. And if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know those signs, then you're going to be out here and have no idea. So that's why I say having the internet as a tool is
Mm-hmm.
very important. Have your young people look at pictures of this, because when you see it, and you see what happens and what could happen, you need to see what the sores look like. You need to see what the outbreak looks like. You need to know, because if you see that, you know what that is.
Right.
You
Right.
know what that is. And you're protecting yourself. So the best way to protect yourself is to be knowledgeable. And I didn't know. I didn't know when I was a young person. No one, my parents did not talk to me about that. The most conversation when I was growing up was they were more concerned about you if you got pregnant. You
Yes.
know, they were thinking about early pregnancy. And there's so many other things out here until like pregnancy is like a blessing to you. You don't want to be caught out here with a disease that is going to take your life.
Right.
And I
Right.
know that today, there's medications and we've come a long way, but still, it compromises your health and your immune system. We all know, and there are people around us today that we know who have HIV and they're living full lives,
Mhm.
but they have their health issues. So we need to talk about it. We need to let our kids know, like, pregnancy just might not be not just might not be. Pregnancy is not the worst thing that can happen to you
Right.
from having intimate relationships.
Right. And science says there's different strands of all sorts of diseases. And if I have to report you to the CDC, then you need to tell your significant other.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
yeah. I agree with you. Sonya's coming through with some really good information here.
She is. And most of these folks that are keeping it from their spouses pay cash because they don't want it on that insurance bill. That pisses me off. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Ooh.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Mm.
I hadn't thought of that at all.
And Shania also says young people don't wait a minute, young people don't they like playing stupid games. Yeah, they do.
But you know what? She's right. But
Mhm.
listen, there's older people out here doing this too.
Yes.
It's older people out here doing that too. So do
Yes.
not be confused. Do not be confused because you're older and you think that a person is more mature and that they're going to know better. No, they're just a more seasoned liar.
Hmm.
I see we got Mr. Pettyville in the house. How you doing?
What's up, Kelly? Kelly said, I'm just gonna look.
We see your eyes. We see your eyes bulging out.
Oh
But
goodness.
this is truth. This is definitely truth.
And Brother Patine says a lot of folks just think of vaginal sex STDs, but oral sex infections are out there at an abundance. Absolutely. That's what we were saying as well. That
Yes.
people protect themselves down there, but they're, that oral stuff too. And you wonder why. Because I remember when I was in college one time, I'm like, what you got going on around your mouth? What's going
Hmm.
on? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And B just is a more seasoned liar. A word. That's the truth.
It's true. You got
Yeah.
grown folks out here because,
Mhm.
it's just like the stigma of having, a sexually transmitted infection or disease. Okay,
Mhm.
we know that, but it's happening to people. It is.
Mhm.
And just like Brother Fatim said, I mean, you contract an STD in several different ways, orally, vaginally. It doesn't necessarily just have to be penetration.
Right.
And you can't take fault for that, but you certainly can not do that to another person. And that is the thing that gets me. Like, okay, everybody who has an STD, you got it
Mhm.
from somewhere, however you got it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you have that and you have to live with that. And so knowing that that has happened, like, how do you make that decision to do that to another person? Did you not learn anything from your own experience? That is the
Right.
part that I don't understand. So there has to be a conversation. In the case of herpes, there are, herpes is a very popular STD. So many people have herpes. Herpes is not something that's get ready to end your life. It is a huge inconvenience, but it's not get ready to end your life. And I feel like people who have herpes definitely, like I said, any STD, you definitely need to have that conversation. But we see it. We see it on people's mouths, so we know it. So if these people are, having those type of relationships with people, we know the possibility of them spreading that. Yeah, you could get it within, or what do we call it? What is it? Like whenever it's active, like we say,
Mm-hmm.
like how do you know if you don't see any outbreaks, like within or outside of an outbreak?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that could go on there. But the fact that you will have an STD,
Mm-hmm.
know that, and not share that,
Right.
I don't get it.
Right. It is it I don't understand why you take away the person's choice when you do that. And I was looking at the comment from Sonya earlier. The timestamp is 12:26, and she was saying that, um, and I think it's pertaining to the herpes. She said they may never have an outbreak, but the other person can. Like the person that's infecting you may not have an outbreak, but if they
Right.
pass it on to you, then you will be the one having out. That's crazy.
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see we got Connie in here.
What's up, Connie? Hey, Connie.
Hey, poet.
And Connie says, if I had $1 for every person who discloses their herpes status after I disclose my HIV status, I'd be Elon Musk. Yeah, people lie bad.
Oh wow.
People
Well,
lie bad.
if I interpret this, and Connie help me understand here, if I'm interpreting this the right way. She's saying if she had a dollar for every person who disclosed their herpes after she disclosed her HIV status, she'd be Elon Musk. And as I read this, I'm like, okay, you can't even put HIV and herpes on the same scale. You cannot. Or you should not. So to me, it seems like she said, after I am disclosing something that is life threatening, life altering
Mm-hmm.
in such in that magnitude, and
Yes.
then you disclose that you have herpes, but you didn't say that before,
Right.
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then Reggie says the older group home facilities are one of the fastest growing rate of STD in America. And I heard, and you know what? I was
Yes.
actually talking to a friend of mine that works in the hospital, and she said, Tori, believe it or not, the older folks are the ones that is a lot. And I'm like, really? Like people in their 70s and stuff getting it. And
Right.
I'm like, wow.
Because you got to think about this. You got to think about the breakdown of your immune system. You're more susceptible to all types of things.
Yeah.
Because your health is just not the same. So
Yeah.
I can see how that happens. And then when you're talking about a close knit type facility,
Hmm.
and it's in there, and people are running around there, so it's just being passed around. Passed around.
Yeah.
One person gets it, and we, what are we talking about? We're talking about that dishonesty. People who are, having relationships with more than one person behind somebody else's back, and then you find this out after you get a STD. So
Okay.
everything is good with you. You're having relationships with this person. You think that that's the only person, and that you're the only two together, and then you get an STD, and that's when you find out, like, hey, so you're not the only one. And that's
Right.
that's that's no way you want to find out when you got a big hole in your face that you can speak with. Have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. And Kimberly says, have you all noticed that they have really dumbed down the effects of HIV and AIDS? It's awesome that it's treatable. I have close friends that live wonderful lives. That's all great. But these pharmaceutical ads make it seem like being infected is no big deal. And that's a stretch. Yeah, it is.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
because
And
listen, I'm happy. I feel the same way that she does. You know,
yeah.
I'm happy that people are able to live and get treatment.
Hmm.
But it has that made people be a little more careless? Is that why we're, because I asked the question, are people not using condoms anymore? Because there was a time where, you know, people were using condoms and basically because HIV had people afraid. It really had people afraid, and people are just not afraid anymore. They can get help because they're gonna live.
And there's actually, I think it's called, Connie, help me out if I'm wrong, but I think there's a tablet that people can take. I want to say it's called Prep or something. And basically, with Prep, you take it every day, and Prep actually is supposed to prevent you from getting HIV, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, kind of correct me if I'm wrong, because I get tested regularly, and one of the doctor was telling me about the Prep, and I was like, no, that's not something that I need, because I'm, and it's mostly for people that they do have risky behavior, and it's a pill that you take every day, and it's supposed to protect you from contracting HIV. But I think with what you said, because of things like that, then people probably are being more careless
Well,
these days
I
because of
got
that.
you, but
Yeah.
but in respect to that, and we're not a medical show, so I'm not even so concerned about getting to the specifics of the medication. I
Hmm.
feel like as a conversation starter, I
Hmm.
feel like as conversationalists, I feel like it's our duty for people to talk about this. So you hear us talking, you hear people who are making their comments and sharing this conversation with us. That
Hmm.
is what is important. Now, you've got to do your duty and you've got to seek the medical attention that you need because it is out there. And the information that you need is available to you. But I certainly feel like people are being a lot more risky. They're just being risky out here.
Yeah. And Brother Fatin says it's called selfishness or misery loves company. Michael Basin on his former radio talk show had to talk down a woman that called into his show years ago that was HIV positive, and she was bitter and wanted to spread it to others. Unfortunately, she died some months later, but Michael Basin was able to stop on that day from going out and exposing others. Wow. And that hurts me when I see, like, there was a lady that's something I saw on Facebook. Is she contracted it, and she started calling out all the names of the people that she had slept with, and I stuff like that is evil and mean to me. I hate when people do stuff like that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Let's read Sonia's comment here.
Tanya says, Tanya, don't belittle herpes because that's all monkeypox are. Without proper meds, anything can kill.
Okay. Yeah, I hope I didn't belittle it because it's certainly not my intention.
Mhm.
My what I was trying to say is, and I feel like people feel this way, so this is good. There has to be people out here who feel this way because it
Mhm.
is not. It hadn't necessarily been on a scale of an HIV. I
Mhm.
feel like people feel like they don't have to discuss it. So that was the point that I really wanted to make.
Mhm.
But I certainly know it's something that stays with you for life. So it is life altering. It just happens to not be in the same category as an HIV. But I think you're absolutely right. We can't belittle any of these things, and herpes is not something to belittle. But obviously, there's a lot of people out here who are just not. They're not giving up that information, and where I think Connie had a comment here.
Right before it, Sonya's, you talk about the one that yeah. She said, when I'm out speaking about HIV, dozens of people come up to me after and disclose that they have herpes. People are ashamed. My courage gives them courage.
Respect.
That's Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good to hear.
That is because,
Yeah.
and again, so this is it. It is
Mhm.
the shame.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think, well, not I think, we know
Mhm.
it is the shame.
Yeah.
But you've got to step outside of that because you don't want to do to someone what was done to you. You don't
Right.
want to do it. You want to stop this thing.
Mhm.
You've got to.
And Connie also says PrEP is prevention method for people who are at risk for HIV. It's basically a low dose HIV medication. Okay, thank you so much, Connie, for clarifying. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and Miss Sonia says perversion.
Okay, Previson. Okay.
Previson. Oh, and Reggie says, is that herpes? Did he mean
Yeah,
herpes?
well,
Herpes.
people make typos. We type in here,
Oh
and
no, I want to make
auto.
sure.
I know, but I'm just saying we type in and autocorrect. You know how it is. People on their phones. Listen.
Okay. And he said, herpes situation. I greatly adore this young lady I saw interested in. After years of interest, she revealed she had herpes. Being biased, I wasn't interested anymore. So I could see why people are afraid to disclose status. Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah. I can
Right.
understand that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And and just as HIV is
mhm,
a livable disease that people are having the proper medication and are living longer,
mhm,
herpes is the same in that respect. So people are gonna have to deal with that, and I think we need to have the conversation, learn more about all of the and then there's more than herpes and HIV. Like there's syphilis, there's chlamydia, so many other diseases. Remember crabs, so many
yeah.
different things that you can have sexual encounters, and
Mhm,
like some you can get rid of and some you cannot.
yeah.
Some you cannot.
Wow. Kimberly says, in my conversation circles, many women use condoms to avoid pregnancy. Doesn't seem that STDs are in their radar. Condom conversations I hear usually end in, girl, I ain't trying to have no more kids. Kind of explains why older people, 50s and up, are passing disease. The pregnancy factor isn't there, so they just going for it.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, as a 50-year-old something, nope, nope. I don't know you. You gonna
Yeah.
have to. You gonna have to. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what? She brings up a very good point. Let me leave this up for a while. Let me read this. That's true.
Hmm.
A lot of times, because even growing up, I talked about that. We talked about it. People, your parents, your safe sex talk was really safe sex in terms of not becoming pregnant. That
Yes.
was that was the safe sex talk. They didn't tell you anything about STDs.
Right.
When you learned about an STD, it was
Mhm.
because you ended up having an STD. You know,
Yeah.
that's what that was all about. So it's crazy out here, and we've got to tell our kids more. You
Right.
have to,
Right. Right.
or at least you should be. You
I
know,
am. I'm definitely talking to my son.
yeah,
Definitely. We was just like I said when we were preparing when I was talking about the conversation. Oh, that's gonna be a good conversation. And we just had a conversation about it last night, which I'm glad he's able to talk to me about.
yeah, and that's why I say go online and let them see pictures. Let them see pictures of these, because when you see how the genitalia looks with these sores, and it's not a pretty picture, I think it's really gonna drive home the point of taking care of yourself
Yeah.
and protecting yourself. And this is not about to just be about not having a baby.
Right. That
It's not.
that was that what did it for me when we were in school and we took the sex education class and they showed us pictures. That scared me to death. Little boys used to always pick at me. Tori, just a tease. Well, I'll just be just a tease then.
Come on, you understand me?
Sherry says, "Hi, sis. I believe that it is very important to have that discussion before being intimate with anyone. Have the discussion and then get a full STD test that you both can view and make your decisions from there. If you decide to move forward with the relationship, continue to get those tests done annually. Just my opinion. And also, Miss Sherry, I would like to say, because I know me, like I said, I get tested regularly, so I can, if you want to see my results, I could pull them out. But another thing that I would suggest as well, when you have those conversations, schedule a date that you guys can get tested together. That's how I would move forward as well. Once you have that discussion, because things can change. You don't know, like, people could tell you, but they may tell you they could have the test like that. It could be an old test. So what I would suggest, go a step further, and when you guys, you, because like I said, I can pull out my test, but hey, let's schedule an appointment and we can get tested together so we can find out what's really going on. So that what I would suggest as well, having those conversations and getting tested together.
Listen, that sounds so beautiful. It does. That sounds so beautiful, but so few people do that. Because here's the thing. You're dating a person and you may, like, think about those people who, what about the one night stand people who have, who out here and they doing it even before they even really know the person that well. But if we stay on topic with, okay, you want to have the discussion before you got intimate, which means you're getting to know the person, you're building up some type of trust, and say you have the conversation. So you have the conversation and you trust them. You had the conversation and you trust them, so you didn't get testing. And I don't know a whole lot of people who go and get tested together. I've never been tested with anyone. Never. I've never done it. Being full transparent. Not the smartest thing. Not the smartest thing to have done, not the smartest thing to do. But I'm being honest because I know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And I consider myself, intelligent enough to be concerned about my safety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to discuss what has, what my status is. I'm going to discuss who I've been with, what I've been exposed to. I'm willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that everybody's doing that. Like, somebody could tell you and you trust them because you've been dating them for a while. You haven't been intimate with them, but you've built that bond of trust. And then, hey, what if something happens? So I can see or I can understand how that happens to people.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Woo. Yeah, but that's true. That's very true. And Connie says Google Cicely Bolden. I definitely will. I'm definitely gonna be
In fact,
Googling.
I'm getting ready to Google it right now. But go ahead and let's read the next. Hold on. Let
Okay.
let me uh let me bring up something here.
And
Go
Brother
ahead.
Fatigue says total U.S. cases of syphilis surpassed 207,000 in 2022. Woo! The highest
Wow.
count. The highest count since 1950.
And
Wow.
why is that? Why is that?
Ooh,
How
Lord.
comfortable are people now? That's the
Mm,
so that's what I'm saying to you here. Like, I feel like people have gotten so comfortable because the pharmaceutical industry have put drugs out here, and this is a good thing.
yeah.
So people are feeling like, okay, well, I'm not gonna die, or I'm not gonna die tomorrow, and it's
Yeah.
giving them a false sense of, I don't want to say security, but I just feel like it's people just don't have that fear that they had in the early days. I don't think that we should be I don't think that fear should drive you to discriminate against people. But the fear that I'm talking about is a healthy fear that for yourself that allows you to say, hey, I've got to take care of myself. I've got to take care of myself. And I want to be that person to take care of my partner. Okay, so I have Googled,
Cicely Bolden.
yes,
Okay.
let me pull something up here. Okay, so HIV positive woman killed in Dallas immediately after disclosing
Ooh.
status to sexual partner. Okay, and this is an article from September of 2012. So it said earlier this week, news broke across the country about a woman named Cicely Bolden who was viciously stabbed to death by her lover immediately after she told him she was HIV positive. Wow. Miss Bolden, who lived in Dallas, Texas, was 28 years old when her boyfriend, Larry Dunn Jr., killed her. Listen,
Wow.
and this is why
Mm.
this makes this situation even more frightening because she was doing the right thing
Wow.
and she was brutally killed, stabbed to
Mm.
death immediately after she told him. So if we're hearing things like that, well, that's not getting ready to make you feel like you're getting ready to disclose anything with a partner.
Right. Wow.
So you guys look that up so that you can read the full article.
Yeah.
Because as I'm looking through it here, this is definitely not an easy read. As I read through it, like people were having comments and people were felt like she deserved it. People were actually
Mm.
making comments and saying that's what she deserved. So we've got ignorance within our community, within in this nation, in this world,
Right.
because this girl was doing the right thing. And we're having this conversation encouraging people to do the right thing.
Right. Right. That's so sad. And I'm glad Connie mentioned that because I never heard that story.
Wow.
Wow. And science says, I'm shocked when women find that their boyfriend has every STD in the book and decides to pay over $1,500 for a shot so they won't get it. There's no guarantee. And if she's pregnant, she comes every month and pays $800 a month. Oh my goodness. Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
You are shocked because you actually trust your partner. So the
Wow.
thing is, really what this conversation has shown me is that you cannot. You
Wow.
cannot. Because we're having this conversation because you saw a video on TikTok where a wife's husband gave her 3 different diseases, as well as she found out that he was on the down low. Her husband,
Yeah. Her husband.
married, committed relationship.
Mhm. And
So if you can't feel safe sexually in a marriage, when
mm,
do you feel safe?
yeah.
And how often? Okay, so you're married. So how often are you being checked? And how often are you asking your partner, your husband, your mate to be checked? Is that
Mm,
something that we must do because it's happening in marriages? What are we doing?
mm.
What are we doing?
Wow. And Sherry says, yes, test together. And for Brother 15 says, gonorrhea is far and away the most pressing concern. Currently, there's only one CDC recommended treatment for it. A single dose of, I cannot pronounce that, syphilis and chlamydia have also begun to show resistance to antibiotics in some parts of the world. Wow. Wow. And Sonya also says, you'll be surprised, sis, at the people who will go along with you. I promise. Just don't be afraid to ask. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. And Sonya also says, everyone that comes in to see me to make sure they're good are my heroes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And Connie says her 2 children found her body. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
goodness.
That's sad.
So we're talking about Cicely Bolden.
Yes, that's so sad. Oh
She
my
was
God.
found viciously stabbed to death after she disclosed to her lover that she
Wow.
was HIV positive.
Wow. Sad. Wow. That's hard to hear. And Sherry says that's terrible that happened to her. Mm. Kimberly said, I wanted to say one more thing. I hope parents have gotten over the shame of having these conversations with kids about sex, about multiple sex partners, about testing, and so on, because they will learn one way or another. Trust me, my
Yes.
son and I are having that conversation. Just talked about it last night.
Yeah. And just because you are in this relationship and you happen to be, you have your own moral code and you're being honest and you're
Mhm.
not out here sleeping with other people, that doesn't mean that your partner isn't.
Right.
It doesn't mean that your partner isn't. And your partner's out here sleeping with somebody else who's probably sleeping with somebody else who's probably sleeping with
Right.
somebody else.
The list goes on and on. That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh.
So, just like Sherry is saying here, we just have to be careful and try to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
And what she's saying is right. Try,
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Woo, Tori. I don't know what made you bring this conversation, but I'm happy that you brought it to my attention because it is something that we should be talking about. Young people, older people, don't think because these adults are here aren't doing stupid things too. I know a
Right.
lot of them. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of stories. It's
Hmm.
happened and it's happening.
It is. It is. Because I have a couple of 50-year-old, over 50 plus, approach me. Oh, you look nice. Then call me when you want to. What?
Mm-hmm.
No, bruh. No,
Mm-hmm.
nah. So yeah, but that what I'm happy about. I can't recall who said it. I think it was Kimberly, but I'm not sure. But I'm happy that there are medication that help people, individuals that are affected these days to live long, healthy lives. Because I
Yeah.
remember growing up, and I think when I was a little girl, like I think when they first started reporting it, like in the early '80s, and people were dying because they didn't have the medication because they didn't know where the illness came from. But I'm happy that people are living longer and healthier lives. There's a young lady that I follow on TikTok that is living with HIV. And if you look at her, she's beautiful, and you wouldn't even think. That's why, a lot of times people say, well, they look good. You can't always go by that, but she's beautiful. And in her particular story, she contracted it through her husband as well. So that's scary that you can't. It's scary, very scary. And Connie says very seldom are these public health issues explored from a systematic lens. Racism, classism, poverty, mass incarceration, substance abuse all impact the STD rates among certain populations. And
Absolutely.
yes, yes, yes.
Woo.
This is great.
Mm-hmm.
This is
But
great
it
conversation.
it's going to come down to
Hmm.
that 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 conversation, and it's beyond the conversation. It's beyond trust. We, unfortunately, Connie brought to our attention why people are not communicating, and that is very tragic. But I don't know that that should put us in that particular fear. I don't know. I don't know. But we've got to find some strategies to be able to build some trust, to be able to encourage people to be open enough to get testing.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
get it. Educate yourself. Education and awareness. These type of conversations are important because this conversation should spark you to 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 go further. Everything is at your fingertips. You can look this up. And certainly you need to be having these conversations. We've got to get over some of these stigmas, discuss the stigmas and misconceptions around STDs that we encounter. Like how can we challenge these and how can we overcome some of the stigmas? Because we have to. And so that's the thing.
Right. Right.
Healthy
Absolutely.
boundaries.
Woo.
Healthy boundaries. How do we establish and communicate those boundaries when it comes to our sexual health with a partner? Like, you got to let them know, like, hey, we can't go further because I happen to have sexual health boundaries. I need us to
Right.
get tested. Maybe we need to start practicing the language that we should be having. So
Right.
how do we establish that? Okay, well, they think you're, like you said, well, people say, well, Tori is a tease or whatever the case may be. Well, no. I have healthy, boundaries. I've got
Yeah.
sexual health boundaries.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go here, this is what we're going to have to do. We got to
Right.
recognize, and then we got to stop fooling ourselves. We got to
Hmm.
stop fooling ourselves. Stop trying to think everybody's going to be that good person like how you are, and recognize those red flags. Like, what are some of those red flags indicating a potential lack of transparency? Like, you got to know that. You got to know those
Right.
red flags and be honest with yourself, especially regarding sexual health. If you want to have a safe, healthy, a good sexual relationship, sexual health should be at the top of that list. So anybody who wants to be intimate with you, and I'm going to try to get this language right because it's somewhat of a tongue twister. I'm just thinking of it right now, but when it comes to it, you just got to be like, hey, I have a priority for my sexual health, and if this is
Hmm.
what we're going to do, this is what I'd like us to do.
Right.
We need
Right.
to do that. Now, I have not done that. I haven't, but I will now. I
Yeah.
have to now. Because if I am encouraging you to do this, if I am encouraging my kids to do this, then I got to do this. I
Hmm.
can't think that it won't happen to me. I can't. All right.
Right.
So thank everybody for coming in with the dialogue. I certainly want to thank Sonya for all of your professional help in here. Connie, thank you for your
Yes.
transparency.
Yes,
Thank you
Connie.
for putting us on here. She's got another comment there.
Connie says healthy sex includes addressing sexual trauma, childhood trauma as well. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Sherry says, great discussion, ladies. Thank you so much, Sherry.
Moving
Wow.
forward, guys, moving forward, it's important that we share tips, we share advice,
Mhm.
just be open and willing to have more open dialogue about sexual health, and figure out ways that we can normalize these conversations in our relationships.
Absolutely.
In our
Absolutely.
relationships. I'm not saying you got to be all on Facebook posting stuff, all on social media. No,
Please don't do that.
that's when it's too late. Well, you know what? It's because someone exposed that on social media that you saw it, that brought the
Mhm.
conversation for us.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yes.
we just want
Yes.
to we want to encourage you to share your experiences and your thoughts,
Yeah.
tips and things like that. But just
Yeah.
tell them, hey, my sexual health is a priority to me. This is what
Absolutely.
we're going to have to do.
Absolutely.
All right, Tori.
Amina put Amina lastly comment. I think she says great dialogue. Thank you so much, Amina. This has been great. Oh man, this has been a great conversation. Make sure you guys, if you're in current relationships, you're embarking on a new relationship, please be open and honest about your sexual health. And just like Connie said, also talk about that trauma as well. Because that was one of the conversations I had to have in a previous relationship. I had to let them know about the trauma so that they can understand how to move forward. So that's very important as well. But as always, this is another great conversation, another one for the books. Thank you so much to everyone that chimed in. Thank you guys for joining us every Tuesday, because without you guys, there will be no us. And with that, I'll be out. And I just want to say this, just be honest. Be honest. Even though it may be hard, being honest is important. Not only are you giving that person a choice, you're also protecting that person as well as protecting yourself. You
Yeah.
guys be great. Enjoy the remainder of your afternoon, and I'm out.
All right, Tori. Always good having Talk It Out Tuesday with Tori. Guys, that wraps up another enlightening Talk It Out Tuesday. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your stories. Thank you for sharing your vibe with us here today. Remember, it's key for all relationships to have open communication and understanding. Okay? If you guys have more to share or want to suggest topics for future talks, just hit me up, hit Tori up in social media. You know how to jump in those DMs. You jump in it for everything else. So before we get out of here and until the next time, I want y'all to stay true. I want you to stay open. I want you to keep these type of conversations flowing. All right? Now, before you get back to work, before you go back and finish the rest of the day, you know what we always do? We come in here with a little breath work. We're going to leave out of here with a little breath work. But, before I forget, one more thing. Tori, I'm going to have to bring you back in. Tori, I got to bring you back in a minute. Tori, you still there?
I'm here.
Tori, today my mama birthday.
Oh, hey, Mama. Happy birthday, Mama.
Y'all tell my mama happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mama. I gotta say happy birthday to my mom. We gotta celebrate our mom's birthday because, you know, like my mom's birthday, honestly, it's like my birthday because if it wasn't her birthday, I wouldn't have a birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Happy birthday, Mom. Listen, what that new song, that TikTok, happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to you. Close your eyes, make a wish, something, and I don't know the rest, but happy birthday, Mama.
All right. Happy birthday to Mama. Happy birthday to another one of my favorite persons who walked this planet. Happy birthday. It's Bob Marley's birthday today. So shout out, big up, Bob Marley.
And that movie comes out on Valentine's, I think. The Bob Marley movie comes out. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think it comes out Valentine's. Oh, I love Bob Marley. And
I do
also,
too.
I have a classmate, Lakeisha Sellers, who's celebrating a birthday today as well. So happy birthday. Oh my God.
Happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. One love. All right?
Yes.
All right. All right, guys. Let me just go ahead and say before you get back to work, before you get back in there, I want to do what we always do, what I always like to do with you. I want us to do a little bit of breath work and then enjoy the rest of your day. All right? Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. All right? Y'all be great out here. That's what we do. One love, y'all.